Hey folks, Ardwulf here. We have a storage solutions video for you today. It's first one in a while, but as usual, I only make one of these when I have something to say, and there have been a bunch of requests about the new methodology in storage solutions that we're able to adopt here thanks to the miracle of 3D printing. So this is the first complete solution that I have arrived at through 3D printing storage for game counters, and we're going to see the whole solution here. This is Third World War from Compass Games. It is in a huge 3-inch box, which does not bulge when we have everything in there. The original storage solution for this was four of these container store trays stored outside the box. You can, I think, fit 2 of these in there, but stacking them up too high, you still weren't getting everything in the box. There's a lot of stuff in here. And to be honest, even with the 3D printed solution, there was still some scrambling at the last minute that needed to be done. So let's open it up and take a look at what we have. Now, I have mentioned in the recent patrons live stream, which is now available for everybody, that my 3D models for counter trays and whatever else I come up with are available to patrons at the swordsman level and above. So the support for the channel is much appreciated, obviously. And this is the storage solution. Now, I have some of like my standard trays for 5/16 inch counters in here, plus some spacers that I also 3D printed to kind of keep everything solid. And there's even like a finger hole to get all of the material out. So here is all the paper that comes in this thing. And I think I'm going to make the spacers available as well for patrons. So check that out if you're interested in these. I looked into trying to make them and sell them to people and ship them myself, and I think that's just not practical. So this is just a spacer. It's literally a block with a finger hole cut in it. The finger hole's not quite wide enough. The revised model will have a slightly wider finger hole for your sausage-like fingers as well as mine. This is just a solid block, which also now will have a finger hole. We have 10 of these counter trays, and then 2 special block trays that I designed specifically for Third World War. Now the idea here is that the markers and neutrals and stuff like that go in the black trays, the NATO stuff goes in the green trays, and the Warsaw Pact stuff goes in the red trays. It's a little bit imperfect because, like I said, I had to scramble, but I did get everything in the box. So I'm not sure what order these are in. They are upside down, of course. So we've organized everything. We'll start with the Warsaw Pact. We've got everything by the strategic direction, and then by front, and then by army. Each army has at least one, a couple have more than one stack. Now these counters are very thick, so I am able to fit with a 1mm spacer. I am able to comfortably fit 7 counters in one stack compartment. These are the MS33 trays. These are M, it means medium because they're 5/16 inch counters. These trays will be available in the file share for Swordsman Level patrons in April. This is the only tray of this kind that's actually done. So we've got 3 of these and I've got some of the Warsaw Pact markers. These strike markers are in the Warsaw Pact container. Honestly, there might be too many of them in the game, but we got them all in there. We've got some of the neutrals and marker stuff in here as well. And then for the NATO forces, these are probably also upside down. They are not. We're able to do exactly the same type of storage solution. I have also integrated the errata counters into this. All of the errata counters replace existing counters, so we didn't take up any additional space. And then pretty much all of the neutrals are in the black trays, in addition to these hit markers. I'm not sure I like these hit markers, to be honest. I think they're nicer than the original GDW ones, but I would have preferred even Pollard markers. I think would have been a little more convenient. I think it would have saved a lot of space on counter sheets to use Pollard markers instead of these things, but I was not consulted. So, we have, once again, 4 of the black trays, and I'll show you how everything goes back in. Now, the These are not just spacers, right? These are also storage trays. So we have the control markers, these X markers, and then in the other one, we have a slot for the cards to fit vertically. And you just pull those out and they slide right back in. And then we have these destruction markers as well. So the way this will all go back in the box is we put, first of all, the cards. I could have resized this for sleeves, but for sleeved cards, but I'm not sure that that's particularly important since you're not shuffling these cards. These will go on the side. And then we'll put the NATO forces in first. On the bottom, we'll put 3 trays. We'll put the Warsaw Pact 3 trays. Then we will put the 4 black trays for neutrals and assorted stuff. And then we'll put this spacer on the side because I didn't want all the books and stuff banging into the cards. And then we'll put this, and that'll keep this thing spaced out. I could have put a little cutout there, but I didn't think of that, but that's okay. The whole point was to keep banging around inside the box to an absolute minimum. Now, I like to keep the maps next in the box, so we'll put those in first, and they fit quite snugly. We've got the huge stack of paper that goes on the player aid cards and assorted reference documents and reference cards that go in this game. We'll put that right there. And then we'll put this, and you can see that it pretty much comes right up to the size of the box. Now, this is kind of the type of bespoke solution that I didn't really want to do. But I did want to experiment with the modeling and stuff like that, so I did it for this game. Like I said, I'll make those spacers available as well. And if nothing else, they'll give people ideas on making their own stuff. But we were able to get all of Third World War. This crap can go off the shelf now, and we can just shelve up Third World War on its own. And this thing, I'll tell you what, you don't think this plastic is particularly heavy, but this thing weighs about as much as a cinder block. It's even heavier now than it was when it arrived from Compass Games. And if you think about it, there is basically almost no air in this box. It is almost 100% solid paper, cardboard, or plastic. So that's the kind of fully developed Third World War storage solution, which I have literally just finished tonight. I am very happy with it. I see some rooms, some ways this idea can be improved in the future. This is pretty similar to the methodology I'm going to use for Case Blue. Although I think Case Blue, I may or may not make spacers for Case Blue. We'll see. I might not need to. I haven't done all the measurements yet. But I'm pretty confident that I can get them all in for all of those counters, as many of them as there are. I'm pretty sure I can get all of them in 4 trays. The biggest trays that I have managed to make so far. So hopefully you found this useful. This is, kind of something you can do with 3D printing if you have a 3D printer available. Now you can, of course, take models and send them out and get them printed. That's not incredibly economical. It's almost more economical to buy your own 3D printer, but then you got to worry about the whole thing where it's its own hobby, right? It's still a quite fussy process. It's still much less automated than you would think it would be. Like a regular printer that prints paper, you just plug it in and maybe install a driver and stick paper in it and push a button and it works. The 3D printers are not like that. If you want to hear more about that, do check out the stream. It runs about an hour and 10 minutes. I kind of talk about all the ins and outs of what I've learned about 3D printing so far. And bear in mind that I've only been doing this for a couple of months. But this isn't the first game I have stored in 3D printed trays. That would be Sicily, Triumph, and Folly. But this is one that really needed it, right? Sicily, Triumph, and Folly, I did manage to squeeze it into one GMT counter tray that fit in the box. This was hopeless. And the biggest priority for this is to clear out the entire bookcase of counters that are stored outside the game boxes. There are some games that I think it's hopeless. Whiff is one of them. ASL is one of them. But I might try and tackle those too. Next up, I'm not sure what I'm going to tackle, but I will report back So hopefully you found this informative. If so, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do consider supporting the channel. The best way to do that is through Patreon. There's a link to that in the video description. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the patrons of Ardwulf's Lair, without whose support none of this would even be possible. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy wargaming.